This character fucking sucks. Here are the rules. We can only use Mona. All catalysts are allowed, including 5 stars, blah, 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 blah. And lastly, no glitches. Now that we've got that done, let's see if we can beat Genshin Impact with this stupid fucking character. 君と見た世界さあ始まりの鐘が鳴る We are fantastic dreamers 'Gotta put on a smile, can't talk like this the whole video. We start our journey with the worst luck I've ever experienced in my life. First off, this account was the second attempt to get Farina, and again, that did not happen. Oh no. And since Mona is a magic user, that means we had to get the Eye of Perception. So I had to wait a couple of months for a banner with it to come back. Then we have the second reason behind the worst luck I've ever had in my life. I'm not going to say how much money I had to spend to get this, because I'm already in a bad mood. Instead, I will just show you the picture of all the 4 stars and 5-star weapons I got just to get one Eye of Perception. One. This is not edited. Now that we finally have a required weapon, we can begin the challenge.
I'm a winner, everybody! Yeah, hear that?
Amber's Domain presents the first obstacle for Mona. At this point, jumping up the pillar hasn't been much of an issue for me since I've had to do it with so many different characters. But Mona is different because she can't sprint. Making this jump much more difficult than it should have been. Next, we were hit with artillery fire as we ran into Kai's temple for shelter. And oh wow, look, our sprint is able to go across water. Yippee, I love this so much. To finish off the first of many knives in the back to come, we cleared Lisa's domain, so now we just have to do our best to get to the next story. And until we get there, let's talk about what this character does and does not do well with. We'll start with the good parts. Now I'm gonna start bitching. What's bad about Mona? Almost everything. Dead ass. Almost everything about this character is bad. This is literally Chinese water torture. Made by a Chinese developer, she uses water, and this run drove me insane. Hydro is terrible by itself. Not many enemies are weak to Hydro, and it's only good against Pyro Shields, and maybe some Electro ones. Other than them, it does terrible against almost every single shield. And since Solo Hydro Catalyst is such a terrible combination, we have to get the Eye of Perception.
There's some question as to why that is.
Large Hydro Slime. Oh, immune to Hydro. Small Hydro Slime. Oh, immune to Hydro. Hydro Spectre. Immune to Hydro. Hydro Abyss Mage. Hydro Abyss Herald. Immune. And don't worry, we'll talk more about the most expensive 4-star weapon ever. Mona's sprint is up next. I hate these sprints, and I think Hoyoverse does too. There's a reason they have not made another character with one of these sprints in almost 4 years. They go faster than normal sprints, but they feel worse to use. Outside of combat, this dash can just get stuck. Yes, one of the first ever videos I made was a montage of Ayaka's sprint getting stuck on random parts of the map, and 4 years later, we're still having the same issue. One of the main benefits about this sprint is that you can use it on water, which is good, but I can probably tell you the amount of times that I used it on one AI generated hand. I can literally show you on the map where this came in handy. Using this dash during combat feels terrible. Plus, it also fucks with our damage, and I'll tell you how when we get to Mona's boss fight, because that's when it matters the most. Then we have the skill. This ability is a double whammy. Weird and weak. It's weird because it can somehow break frozen chests, and it also works as a deployable object. While fighting, this ability serves, but not in a good way. It acts as a taunt, a mimic of sorts, which is fine, but the damage on this ability leaves a lot to be desired. And that desire is numbers higher than 100. This character in general just struggles with damage. Look at these numbers. Is there anything about this character that doesn't suck complete ass?
Turn around, bite dies. Every now and then I fall apart. And I need you now tonight. And I need you more than ever.
I lied earlier. Mona has one good thing going for her. Mona's burst is genuinely amazing. I don't use Mona much normally, and before this run, I thought that her burst was going to be useless, because I believe that she had the Yoimiya situation going on, where the damage effect requires someone else to activate it. Since she's a broke, lonely loser, but I was wrong, and I could not be happier about it. This burst has a ton of range, makes us do a ton of damage, and it stuns smaller enemies. He's tweaking. Oh my god. The only weakness for the burst is that it doesn't work against shields, but that is a small price to pay. This burst is the single sprinkle on the sundae that is this character. So I don't even care that it doesn't work sometimes. I will take whatever I can with this character.
Still alive!
Act 2 of Mondstadt begins with us ascending both the Eye and Mona. Never take the first ascension for granted. I promise. You will miss how simple it was to bring a character up, because any level higher than 40 becomes a nightmare after this.
Gotta cherish it.
Right after we spit in the Eye of the Storm,
Do that again.
we float across water to fight a Fatui agent. This battle began with both of us appearing from thin air and him disappearing after we've made him drown in the air. I'm pretty sure this is his drowning animation, which may imply that we are actually drowning enemies with our burst. Either that or they just couldn't think of what to do here and they reused the animations.
Drown in it! Drown in it!
Shortly after, our dash gets stuck again, and we hit a Ruin Guard for a damage high of 1556, which is the earliest a damage number like this has ever been achieved, but this is Mickey Mouse. This is so fake. Industry plain ass number. I know you for who you truly are, because this is the same character whose physical damage orb does more damage against the robot than her normal hydro attacks. Act 2 ends with Mona's attempt at aura farming, and her popping the last enemies like balloons. Before starting Act 3, I went over to Oceanid so I could maybe farm it, but I quickly realized that I did not want to fight this Hydro Immune enemy. So I started the finale to Mondstadt, that way I could fight another Hydro Immune enemy. I love this. Mona does have one good thing about shields, and that's when she finally breaks them, she can easily kill the enemy with the burst, because after 4 minutes of normal attacking, she will always have it, so she never has to worry about destroying a shield twice. Mona then fought Dvalin, and holy hell did she bring it down to half health fast, but I'm not giving her credit. Carried character. I will be Mona's biggest hater. After 2 hours, Mona began leeway in a very sinister way. In addition to hitting a damage high of 3k, we got to watch the fear in this soldier's eye as he was stuck floating in midair, waiting to get water thrown on him. As for the Ruin Hunter, we used the universal weakness to anything related to robotics, according to fiction. Cloud Retainer's domain followed the Hunter, where our dash continues to screw us over. To do the skip, sprint jumping helps a lot in regards to making it up the tree, but Mona does not get this privilege. No, she has to use her bare legs and do a straight vertical jump to make this. 5 minutes of trying to get up here with this lazy jump. Put some effort in, please. Once we finally made it onto the branch, our sprint actually has some value here, because it allows us to go to the top without fear of falling off the edge. Unfortunately, we cannot stay in this state forever though. We have to come out. And by doing that, our forward momentum was too strong and Mona just dropped into the pit. So we had to do it again. I love this.
I'm tired, boss.
But Act 1 still isn't done. 5 minutes here felt like 5 seconds in comparison to Mountain Shaper. Since these guys committed the federal crime known as trespassing, they got sent to an amber-shaped prison. What does this have to do with us? Absolutely nothing, but we're forced to help this guy's brother. Too bad Mona is not a miner. No amount of water thrown at the rocks will cause erosion to appear fast enough. We cannot wait for natural science. So what do we have to do here? Well, if you remember the barber video, we have to do the exact same method to break these. But believe it or not, this took longer. This took over 43 minutes. So, aside from Geo and some Pyro characters, Catalyst users cannot break rocks, but the Amber here can be broken with Overload. But how do we get Overload with a Hydro character? That's the neat part. You don't. We have to get hit by an electro-damaging attack, then get hit by a Pyro move. This process is not reversible. For some ungodly reason, we have to get hit by Electro first. What difference does this make? Trying to get this to work took so much longer than it should have, and part of the reason is because of our dash. Our dash applies Hydro once we leave, meaning that if there is burning grass, we put it out. And once the grass burns, it cannot be burned again. So, in order to break the Amber, we have to get shot by an Electro Archer while dodging Pyro Slimes, in addition to waiting on the Pyro Slimes to attack the grass so they can put it on fire, all without us sprinting. We have to do this twice, since a bomb cannot break a rock. At the very least, if the grass gets burned here, we can teleport away, then come back and have it be burned again. The first rock we broke had a boar in it, which sadly is not this man's brother.
Yeah, here he is. Hey, can I go home now?
I took a risk and figured that since he was over here for Barbara, maybe it'll be the same way for Mona. But look at this mess. There's 4 possible locations for him here, and we can't use the Pyro Slimes anymore, so we have to drag this Pyro Mage over here, break his shield, and wait for him to get it back up so it can burn the grass, and then we can explode. But he refused to cooperate. You can bring an Abyss Mage to a rock, but you can't make him do his attack after the Electro Archer. I got 1 explosion to work here, but getting the second bomb to work took ages to do, especially when the Pyromage would attack me right before the Archer. I got so close so many times, and even when I broke another one of the rocks, it was just a hilly churl. So much bullshit, including a random patch of fire blocking an electro shot. Are you serious? But at minute 43, the amber blew up holding the trapped person. Leave me alone.
Thank God. That took nearly an hour. And the worst part is, I've done it before. I did it a year ago with Barbara, but this time it took more tries.
Rex Lapis assassinated?
I'm not even gonna say it, I'm too pissed off.
At the rite of dissension?
I'm going to bed. After 9.5 hours, Mona ended Act 1, and to grind up to AR-25, a second Mona hit the Helitrail Towers, then we ascended our Eye of the Storm, but not Mona because of these. Oceanid, Oceanid, Oceanid. The most miserable experience I've ever had fighting any bosses with any character came from this run. Most people could tell that this run would be similar to Barbara's since they're both Hydro Catalyst users. And if you're wondering which is better, it really depends on the situation. If you're attacking normal groups of enemies, Mona clears, but if you're fighting bosses, give me Barbara all day.
I had to say garbage, but okay.
I drowned with Mona. Jesus Christ, this was terrible. Oceanid can only be damaged with the Eye of Perception. Every 12 seconds, our damage has a chance of coming out. Let me say that again. Our damage has a chance of coming out, but even then, we can fuck it up because of our dash. Yes, I'm being dead serious. The dash fucks with our damage.
Jackass.
If you attack and immediately dash right after, if the orb from the Eye of Perception decides to come out, it will just fly away.
Where's it going? Where did it go?
And I know it's the dash's fault because this did not happen with Lisa or Barbara. Even with my maxed physical damage bonus goblet, Mona still struggled here. The enemies present in this fight literally determine if we are able to do these. If we ever get the boars at any point in this fight, whether it be the first enemies or the last ones, we have to leave. We cannot beat them. The squirrels are almost just as bad, but it is possible to defeat them. The problem with these enemies is that they can heal themselves, and since we have to wait 12 seconds to attack, the damage we do basically gets healed all the way up, unless we get multiple bounces. But that doesn't happen. The Eye of Perception has a chance to bounce between a maximum of 4 times. In this entire run, I got a quadruple bounce once, and it wasn't here. It was against some random Hydro Slimes. The most bounces I ever got here was 3, which isn't enough to defeat the boars. And the worst part is, we're on a time limit. If you take too long, Oceanus decides to just nuke you. And this damage is pretty much unavoidable. Even if you teleport to the other side of the country, it will hit you. This move alone is why Barbara is better in this fight. Barbara's burst and skill heal her, so they have use in this fight. Mona's abilities are useless. The burst can only be used as invincibility frames for the time attack, but it doesn't last long enough, so she has to take damage from it. In the 50 minutes I spent fighting this boss, I only killed it once. And take a guess on how many drops I got from it. 1. So I had to fight it again, but then I got the boars and just sat at my desk for a minute, debating with myself on whether or not this was worth it. I decided no, then started Leeway Act 2. Despite our skill being able to warm up a frozen chest, it's not able to heat up the pyropod here, making this the first camp for Mona. Inside Madam Ping's teapot, we get to see our physical damage orb fly off again.
Where is he going?
I told you this dash messes with the eye for some reason, and the large Hydro Slime here likes to mess with me because it keeps dodging the only other form of damage that could have been done to him.
Okay.
Once we end Act 2, I decided to go back over to Oceanid, and thankfully, we had a very lucky run. We almost died at the end because of the squirrels and water bomb, but thankfully, our eye decided to crit, making the time attack do no damage to us. Unfortunately, our good fortune ended the second I clicked use original resin.
Yeah, I guess I'll just be killing myself then.
At least we finally ascended Mona and entered the AR-25 domain. Mona's ascensions are actually very valuable, since her level up stat is energy recharge. The more times we get to use the burst, the better it is for both her and my sanity. Following 2 battles against Hydra Abyss mages, one of which was stuck doing this the whole time, we hit AR-28 and started the end of Leeway. Mona may be able to float on water, but sadly the same cannot be said for air. We put our Mimic on the device, but that accomplished nothing, so we had to call him Farazan to do this. Afterwards, we sang some flowers about our Mimic.
My name is Edward. I made the Mimic. It was difficult to put the pieces together.
finish Act 3, we had to fight Child, another boss with a Hydro resistance. Where's my Hydro resistance? I have a Hydro vision too. The best news to come from this battle was that our damage will never be lower than this.
Could this day get any worse? I did it ironically, so I think I'm safe.
Build into destiny.
Not bad. Not bad. Good.
Having the Eye of Perception as a weapon is still good against most enemies in this challenge, even if they aren't immune to Hydro, because of the damage spike that it gives us. 1.5k damage every 12 seconds does wonders for Mona. It's basically like having another burst that does half the damage. As a result of the water being thrown from Mona, Child, and my tears, we flooded the city of Leeway, finishing the Archon quest. Ew, look at the water clipping through the ground. Ugh. The J Chamber quest followed up Leeway, which was not made for Mona. At the start, we have to mine, and sadly, there aren't any electro or pyro enemies here to turn Mona into a bomb. So we have to use the more efficient way to make a bomb, which includes... This method is a lot easier to pull off, but unfortunately it requires us to have another person with us. Towards the end of the domain, we have to fight 2 large Hydro slimes, and towards the end of the quest, we have to fight Based, yet another boss with Hydro resistance. Was that our damage will never be lower than this.
Could this day get any worse?
What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
And I'm sorry that I keep bringing this up, but I'm still just in disbelief at how Mona's sprint and the eye have negative synergy. This will forever blow my mind. Speaking of blowing my mind, it's back to Oceanid, and out of the nearly 2 hours I spent farming this thing, I only got 2 drops. And no, it wasn't a double drop. I managed to kill it twice, but still, at AR 29, with God as my witness, I got 2 single drops in the span of 2 hours. I was so desperate to get anything done. I even changed her outfit just for a false belief that maybe my drip was unlucky. But no, we still get the fucking boars. It's drip or drown, and Mona's at the bottom of the trench. I gave up on Oceanid for now and decided to just go for the talent books. But even farming those is a pain, because they have large cryo slime shields, and our normal attacks are about as useful as they are against Oceanid.
This is f***ing stupid.
I'm just gonna go back to the main story. I have to calm down. Oh my god. Next is Dane Part 2, and for those who saw the Barbara video, you might remember that damn near every enemy in this quest has a Hydro shield, and I needed a break from that. So my Stockholm Syndrome kicked in, and we fought Oceanid, and for the first time, I actually got 2 drops from this thing. Thank you. It took 5 kills, over 4 hours, but I finally got it. But the joys of solo Hydra still aren't done because we have Dane Act 2. In the past, this quest had you fight 2 Hydro Abyss Heralds and 3 Hydro Abyss Mages, 5 enemies with Hydro Elemental shields. But ever since the Natland cycle began, they actually changed this quest. I don't know if they watched the Barbara video or if they really hate Kaya, but they nerfed this section. 2 of the 3 Hydro Abyss Mages got changed to Cryo ones, which greatly helps out Mona. But the biggest change comes at the end of the quest. After a 20-minute fight against a Hydro Herald that sadly did go untouched, you re-enter the Abyss domain and have to fight a Hydro Herald, Hydro Abyss Mage, and a Pyro Mage. But this has since been changed. Now, you do not have to defeat all of them. As long as you bring the Hydro Herald to about a third of its health, the cutscene triggers and you are done. You do not have to deal with the Hydro Shield, you do not have to deal with the Herald Shield, you do not even have to touch the Abyss Mages, the battle just ends. I'm guessing they saw the struggles with Barbara, and Hoyo, since I know you're watching, get rid of the Hydro immunity from Oceanid. Please give it 70% resistance like the wife of the Lord of the Sea. Things are starting to get a lot better for Mona. She got 2 drops from Oceanid, the Dane quest got changed to help her perform better, and when we started Inazuma, we got a damage high of 7k damage. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, come the f*** on. To start Inazuma, Mona's burst actually does— how the hell is he blocking water? As for the archery demonstration, Mona surprisingly cannot hit one. Even the burst, perfect in everything that it does, still cannot reach the first target. So once again, we had to call on Farazan to do this. But I still have something to say about this. My bad luck even carried over to her, because for the entire demonstration, my arrows had to do 2 shots to defeat a target, since she's using a level 1 hunter bow with no artifacts. And as I was on the final section, I got a crit with 5%, which one-shotted the blue target, but since everything else took 2, I instinctually fired another one, which also crit. 5% chance, by the way, and it one-shotted the wrong target.
Pressure getting to you?
I genuinely have no idea what I did for my luck to be this bad on this account. Act 3 begins with us at the Electro Pillars, and sadly, our zodiac symbols are not compatible, so we couldn't do this. Mercury must be in retrograde. The Delusion Factory actually went very well for Mona. When Mona isn't forced to fight an elemental shield, the burst allows her to dominate certain enemies. Seriously, look at this trio get immediately wiped because of our burst.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
For the next boss, the true enemy was not Senora. Mona did completely fine against her with help from the burst. The real enemy was the fucking thermometers. I'm being so serious when I say it probably would have taken longer for me to destroy all of these thermometers than it would have to beat Senora on her own if she didn't have the weather. To finish Inazuma, we have
The almighty Raiden Shogun and the Muso no Hitotachi.
out of every character I've done, Mona benefited the most from the Vision Hunter Kree buff. Mona now has oh my god. Mona now has the highest damage ever done by a character in any challenge with 16k damage.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Inazuma served as Mona's best region so far, but she did not beat it in under 24 hours, meaning she is not a part of the under 24 hour club. Yeah, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Have fun farming Oceanid. 3 attempts were made against Oceanid, and 3 attempts ended with Mona leaving and her ultimately starting the chasm. The last Hydro Herald we had to fight ended in less than a minute because of the change, so if you were upset about that, then you're gonna love this 23-minute epic rematch against these two. If time actually mattered in these quests, Lumine would have found the perfect opposition for us. I don't know how her plan didn't succeed when we had to fight something for nearly 30 minutes, especially since Dangelith was just watching us the whole time. After Fuldan turns off the device, we have to fight the Abyss Mages and bring in our friend Fremine to destroy the batteries, ending the chasm. Once we made it to AR-35, we completed the Ascension Domain, leveling up our weapon, but not Mona.
I can't. Not again. I'm not strong enough.
Can't ascend, and it's not because of the mushrooms. Act 1 of Sumeru takes us inside the tree to fight the demons of our past and present. When we made it to Act 2, Dunyarzad does not seem to be impressed with Mona's dash because she literally will not move unless we walk. She refuses to be next to someone who does this. Act 3 sees us drown innocents and wolves, while Act 4 actually sees our dash be useful for the first time since Leeway Act 1 almost 22 hours ago. Since this dash is actually fast, we were able to activate all of these pillars on the first attempt, which is not the norm for medium females. As we journey over to the pyramid, we turn this desert into a beach and engage in yet another water-spitting battle. Act 5 takes us into combat with more Fatui agents, but sadly, our burst wasn't always active to make these fights so unbelievably short like it was in the factory. Please take me back. Mona even managed to die here because holy hell does that hammer have a lot of range. This screenshot is insane. We really got flattened. Scaramouche's factory serves as the land of resets. The first reset came from a Hydro Gunner, and I have no idea why his health bar reset here. He was like 5 feet away from his spawn. The next one came from the Electro Hammer. After threatening to jump, he actually pulled through with it, except he landed on a support beam. Coward. Scaramouche himself offers little to Mona except for the turrets. Hey, wait a minute. Hydro sucks.
You god!
Sumeru ends with Kari Bear, and to start things off, we have to light the bonfire. Now for this, I really tried. I really tried to get this to work. What I did here was pluck the Fire Whopper Flower and the Electro one up from the ground. The goal was to get them close to the edge and have them do their attack where they store up their energy in their, whatever this is, I'm not a botanist. While they're charging their moves, I will glide over to the bonfire and ideally we get hit by both attacks, turning Mona into yet another bomb that can light the fire. This did not happen. We plucked the flowers, but getting them to charge their move and attack us was a completely different story. They either didn't do anything or attacked us as we started flying, which would kill us. The one time I got the Electro Flower to do his charged move, it didn't have the range. So after spending about the length of a Mythbusters episode, I think we can conclude that this myth might just be busted. I'm also sure that it wouldn't work because when I played Lisa, she wasn't able to heat up the cooking pot, so I'm pretty confident in saying that Electro and Pyro cannot make these work. Mona ends Kari Bear in 35 hours, making this run faster than Barbara's, which I guess is an accomplishment. To get to Fontaine, I tried Oceanid again, but this time I went for the last resort. Even after lowering my world level, I still could just not beat Oceanid again. Our damage was too low, and I couldn't be bothered to wait hours in hopes of getting another good run, especially if that meant only getting one drop. I thought long and hard about it, and came to the conclusion that I just did not care about descending enough to put myself through it again.
I don't know if I can take this guy, Sharon.
So then don't!
If I could get to Sumeru only using level 1 characters, I knew that just somehow, whether it be skill, luck, or magic, that I could get through Fontaine and Natlan with just a level 60 Mona. Fontaine Act 1 begins with the Hydro Flowers, where Mona's attacks were not even able to hit them, so we had to use our dash to make them open. Act 5 takes us to the top of the castle to take on a Ruin Guard and 2 Hilly Troll Rogues. Our Mimic actually saved our ass here because we are pretty underleveled and take basically double damage, so those rockets would have killed us. It's also crazy seeing how the Hydro Rogue can pull out a Hydro Slime to use as a weapon, then make it just disappear. If he literally kept it out, this fight would have been like 10 times longer. What is he, stupid or something? To end Act 5, we have to fight yet another boss with Hydro Resistance. Do I hear 4? To wrap up this present we call Fontaine, Mona is tasked with fighting a Cryo Abyss Lector, which took a surprisingly long time. It's not surprising anymore, this character is so bad. 12 minutes to be exact, since the shield resists our water throwing, and our orb keeps flying off to target Satan, I guess. Natlan serves as the Nation of Pyro, and seeing as how we have a Hydro character, this should be easy for us. I mean, Mona hit an all-time unbuffed damage high of 8.7k. Abyssal Pylons have elemental shields, and since we're only using elemental damage, how could Mona possibly f this up? Easily.
They f***ed it up.
Because she can't hit them. Mona's normal attacks do not lock onto the pylons, so we have to use charged attacks, our skill, and our dash to break these, all while dodging attacks from real enemies. I will never understand why Catalyst charge attacks take 50 stamina, but go off, I guess. Act 2 finds us in the Dragon Ruins, where Mona is reunited with red-leveled enemies. I have no idea why the ones in the previous quest were green, but it looks like from now on, everywhere will be considered a highly dangerous area for Mona. She's not even safe camping with her friends, because she just dies from the Fatui Cannonball. Look at him balled up, goofy ass. Natlan ends with the war, and since a good chunk of the battles involve abyssal pylons, Mona didn't have the best time. We basically have to distance ourselves and make it so that the enemy is next to the pylon as we attack, because Mona refuses to target them. She does great against the mimics since she recognizes them as enemies, but I guess she views pylons as friends.
Pylons
are friends, not food.
She hit a new damage high of 10k, which is cool, but that's not what we need right now. Mona, hit the fucking pylon! We can't even kill the enemies, then focus on the pylons, because it makes them respawn. So our best option is to use our burst, make them immobile, then just dash into the pylon. Get me done with this character. 2,021 people died in Natlan, but since we finished Act 5, we're making it 2,022, because I'm leaving Mona to die here. After 53 hours, 46 minutes, and 44 seconds, we finally beat Genshin Impact, only using this shitty fucking character. I'm not doing an outro speech, put her in the ratings, and let's get done with this. Damage 3, she only hits hard with her burst. Everything else is basically terrible. Exploration 2, Hydro sucks for exploring. There's literally only like one Hydro pillar in Mondstadt and Leeway combined. And I hate her dash. It can only be useful sometimes, and it fucks over the Eye of Perception. Sustain 2, she has a taunt. Bosses 2, she can barely beat her boss. 4 bosses in the story are resistant to Hydro, and the burst can't stun them. Ability / utility 3, the taunt can be helpful to get space from enemies, and the burst does good damage. Overall, this character gets a 12 out of 25, making this one of the lowest scores out of any character, while ending with a damage high of 10k and a buff damage high of 16k, making Mona the king of damage for any solo character. But I don't care anymore. I'm not talking about this character again. I'm issuing a gag order on it. Fuck the bad luck on this account. Fuck Mona. Fuck the money I had to spend to get the Eye of Perception. Fuck Oceanid, and fuck the boars. Next video is Kaching. Bye.
Tell me why.